the knit stitch. Insert the knitting tool from the bottom, scoop the working yarn, make a loop with it, grab that loop with your fingers, take the original loop of the peg and place the new loop on the peg. Again, insert your knitting tool from the bottom, scoop up your working yarn, make a loop with it, take the old loop of the peg, place the new loop on the peg and gently tug on the working yarn. Again, scoop up your working yarn, hook it, make a loop, grab that loop, take the old loop of the peg and place the newly formed loop on the peg and tug gently on the working yarn. And that is the knit stitch. Wrapping in the E-wrap stitch. You take your working yarn towards the inside of the loom, wrap around the peg in a counterclockwise direction, bringing the yarn again towards the inside of the loom. Go to the next peg towards the left, wrap around the peg, again in a counterclockwise direction, taking the yarn again towards the inside of the loom. Move to the adjacent peg, again wrapping in a counterclockwise direction. You continue down the loom in this manner. Then when you reach the end, you will start knitting over. The process of knitting over creates a stitch. What you do is you lift the bottom loop and take it off and over the peg and let the loop fall towards the inside of the loom. Again, the bottom of the peg, bottom of the peg, and you continue down the loom until all the purl stitch. You lay the yarn below the loop on the peg. With your knitting tool, insert it from the top down to the bottom. Hook the working yarn, make a loop, grab the newly formed loop and take the old loop of the peg and place the new loop on the peg and tug on the yarn gently. Again, insert your knitting tool from the top, grab the working yarn forming a loop, grab that loop with your fingers, take the old loop of the peg and place the new loop on the peg and tug on the yarn gently. Again, from the top, grab the working yarn, take the old one, tug on the yarn gently. To remove a panel from a knitting loom, first knit the first 2 stitches. Just follow the pattern that you were doing on your item. So we knit the first 2, then you move the loop from the second peg over to the first peg and you knit over. Move the loop on the first peg over to the second peg, knit the second peg, and move the loop over to the first peg, knit over, move the last loop over one place, knit the last peg, move that last loop over to the first peg, knit over, cut the yarn leaving a 5-inch tail, wrap the peg again, and pull the yarn tail through and take the item of the loom.